Well, hello everybody. How are you all doing? Thank you for being a part of this fantastic experience we call life. And remember, it's just a chapter. There's more to come after it. But welcome everyone. On behalf of Trina, myself, and Jenny, I'm going to speak a favor over us all. We do that. You plant a seed every day, and when the need appears, guess what? You've already got the seed. So favor is a
Mhm.
big deal, man. It really is.
Mhm.
And in this world that, timelines have changed, but we'll get into that. Uh, it always helps to have favor. And we speak love over us all as well. We welcome everybody here. I see that the chat room is full. And we just say nothing missing, nothing broken. Because regardless of how fractured, how bifurcated, how much they want to divide us, they can't. Because when there is that flow of energy of the simple empathy we call love, hmm, love conquers all. So, welcome everyone. I see everyone in the chat room. Cherry, Lost in Space. What's up, Lauren? Ginger. Steffi Marie, much love to you, darling. And Deborah Sloan. How are you? Scotty Boy. Scotty Boy is in the house. Uh, got me all shook up. Rick, how you doing? And everybody else. I know I saw so many others in here. Gilbert, what's up, brother? So anyway, we love you all and thank you. Thank you. And there's Gaia. Y'all really do make this
Mhm.
thing work. It's people say this all the time. Y'all see it. What a loving group. Yeah, we really are. We got our own love in going every time we meet. So Trina, happy birthday belated to you. You were off last week on your
Thank you.
birthday. And
Yeah, thank you.
and I see Jenny's down there. Now Jenny just got her laptop back, so she's working on some technical things. So just send her some good thoughts. Yeah. All right. Uh
Yeah,
so Trina, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Uh,
it was fun.
so did you had fun, right?
I did. I had a great time. Got to get on some horses and got to go on a riverboat cruise.
Mm.
It was wonderful.
When you were
Mhm.
talking, I heard Neil Young, Cowgirl in the Sand. Hello,
Oh, right.
cowgirl in the sand.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
so you went on horseback ride, a kind of a private thing, right?
yeah. We had a private ride, which is really wonderful. My girlfriend's sister, her that's one of her best friends. She owns the stable,
Oh,
so
that's cool.
yeah, she called her up. She was like, I want to take my sister for a birthday ride. And she called me. She's like, You want to go on the birthday ride? She goes, Your birthday's
Mm.
tomorrow. I'm like, Well, absolutely.
So what kind of tell us what kind of horse you had? What color
They
was?
had quarter horses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was on a beautiful white one. It was gray. It's called a gray because it has a black mane and
Mm-hmm.
it's like a silvery white, a grayish white. Beautiful horse and a little being trained a little bit. I don't know why they gave me the rowdy horse. I
Little
think because they
feisty.
knew I could handle it.
That's cool. How cool is
Yeah,
that? Back in
I
the day
like
when
it.
I was a wrangler, there was oh a horse that I loved. We called her Copper because she was a copper mare, and her
Oh,
mane was and that was just a loving horse,
yeah.
which Stormy wasn't. So you had a good time, and so how is it? Were you out in the desert? Were you going into the mountains? Were you?
No, it's what we did. We were in North Scottsdale, which is so
Oh
beautiful.
yeah,
There's these big, huge boulders. It looks like giants were playing baseball with these things.
probably
They're
were.
just, it's crazy because there's mounds of them, and then there's like ones all by themselves in the middle. It's very unique topography out there. It's just beautiful. And that's what we did. We started down in the canyon and we rode up a mountain and then returned and went back down. It was just beautiful. The weather was unbelievably perfect. It was a miraculous day. Beautiful.
Sounds like a fabulous birthday gift.
It was fun. Yeah. And then I got to go
Yeah.
on the river and go through Canyon Lake, and that's like Sedona. It's
Hmm.
huge red rock walls, just beautiful canyons. We got to see the wild rams they just released, and they were climbing the cliffs. And I'm like, how do they not fall? It was just really
Seriously, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, they're like, we
Wow.
can't believe it, but you can actually see them. There they are. I was like, well, there they are. Yeah. So we got to see the
Oh,
wild
good.
rams on the ram's birthday. Pretty cool.
Well, belated happy birthday to you, darling. Hope it was
Thank
a
you.
good one. And Jenny, I see you're still down there working on it. We love you, darling. We're sending you good thoughts.
She's
So,
got some audio issues, y'all. She's trying to work
yeah,
it out.
she's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. Hey, Go from
Yeah.
Croatia. How you
Hi,
doing, brother?
Gopher.
I look over there in Truth Co-op. How are you doing as well? Rainbow Heart. Welcome. I haven't seen that.
Nice.
That's a
Hi.
love the
Welcome.
handle. That is
Mhm.
beautiful. So, lots going on. Thursday, I'll be on. There's Jenny.
Hi.
Uh, with Mike and Cindy from Evolutionary Healing Arts. And
That'll be awesome.
I think it's going to be a really, wow, because there's so much going on. I mean, so ladies, and welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. How do I sound?
Beautiful.
Good.
Great, I
The
did
voice of an
it.
angel.
Yay.
You got it going, girl. You got it going.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
all I got to say. So
Mhm.
how you been, Jenny?
Good, good. I'm walking in favor. I'm doing the whole affirmation thing literally while I'm working, while I'm sleeping, just to break through and harness some of this energy, but break through some of the counterproductive energies that we're in at the minute. So I've been going deep into that, but random sequence of events, no fault of Theo's. It was literally putting something down, something else knocking way over to the laptop, a fluid literally bouncing, and so I've had to have it fixed. It cost quite a bit, but most of my stuff so far I think is salvaged. And I got it just in time to unwrap it again and get it set up for tonight. So I'm really pleased about that. But again, it's I've had a peace that surpasses all inner standing, and I truly know it's because of the counter active energies I've been putting in with the affirmations to that the funds were there. I didn't think about it twice. I really haven't worried about it since, and I'm back online with it, and it's really it's a testament to putting in those 3 days solid of just, okay, haven't got a laptop, can't be working, let's use this energy productively. So it's been really sweet actually, because then Theodore hasn't been hard, like labored with any guilt feelings or worrisome feelings, which kids pick up on. So it's been quite a powerful week
Oh,
in shifts.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And that favor affirmation works. It really does.
It
You know,
really does. And it was this group, because this group helped participate so much in getting that laptop. It was partly the love of this group that helped that affirmation forward for me, to help that peace that surpasses all understanding for me, because I was harnessing it on behalf of people that have paid things forward towards me. So it was really, it's just that same reciprocal energy of gratefulness. That can be recycled so many ways and so many different variations of your life. So when people show love that way, and you can continue to draw the magic from that in gratitude and build it back and pay it forward again, is it's super powerful, because I know that it's because of the partly because of the roots that this group put down regarding the laptop situation, that I was able to really dig deep and say, this won't shift me, this won't hurt me. And it hasn't. It hasn't financially. I haven't felt it. The kids haven't felt it. It's just been there, available to me. So thank
that's
you
favor.
again, everybody.
I tell you,
Mm.
the thing about what we don't realize, but I think many of us have experienced, is that we come together on Tuesday and been doing it for a long, for a, we've been doing this longer than most people have relationships, but
Yeah.
it's true.
That's so crazy, but oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you could say in a sense that this is, a conjoining, But when you were
Yes.
talking, Jenny, so we speak favor over this, and I think this is probably one of the only groups on YouTube, on Facebook that speaks favor. I don't know of
I
another
think
channel. I haven't ever heard of it.
no, it was interesting though, Wayne. Remember I told you they made a song called Favor, a country western song, and there was never a favor song. Yeah.
See?
You remember I told
See?
you dropped an
Yeah,
old word into the construct and I knew it was going to hit a mainstream level and that country music song was my signal.
love it.
You did it. You anchored it into this construct real time. I'm like, wow. Wow.
Bar freaking out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara. She said she enjoyed the show yesterday. Well, freaking. And Ginger says, for a long time. Now, Lauren, is that, that's like one of the, so is that a good thing? Or is that, so while you were talking, Jenny, this is what happens to us. We're all around the world, but when we come together, it forms a shield around us. And
Yeah.
Yes.
that's what many people experience, and it's because of their association to favor. I have found that when I come up against negative entities, that it confounds them when I speak favor over them.
Yes.
And changes them.
It,
Morph
yeah,
them.
or they leave. I tell them, well, don't let the
Yeah.
door hit you in the ass on the way out, but if you want to stay,
Yeah. And that's what you
Um,
speak that to yourself as well. That's so important that we do have a duality within, and often depending which societies you're living in, how you're brought up, whatever the life path might be, you can start to demonize a part of yourself that can look very much like an entity that's frightening, and when you can get to the level of speaking favor to what would be perceived as your demons, you're literally polishing them into diamonds that refract even more light within your inner being. And so when you do speak love and favor into those spaces, you can see something that previously felt very ugly, very frightening, very ominous within self, and give it the Cinderella shoe, so to speak, in that you speak favor over it, you give it the same love as the other aspects of self that you identify more with. You cross that space to recognize the ability within self on that other side, and there's a metamorphosis that happens when people do that. This demonic figure within turns into this beautiful opening flower, because it's been given some love. So it's good to do that on outer entities. Definitely, it's the easiest route out mostly,
always
because you're right,
works.
most of them walk away.
It's
But that inner entity, it's really powerful to speak
it's
favor
the
and
first thing
love.
I say when I enter into this realm after my respite in the sleep realm. First thing I say, do it over my wife, and then Bentley is right there, and I speak it over him, and you know, that's how we start the day.
you know what
Yeah.
I've been hearing the past few days?
What's
I
that?
was going back to a time where a friend of mine, she had two strokes and her face dropped both times. And we did just like a light trance where I guided her on the phone and we were using silver and gold to regenerate her whole vein system and circulatory system and all that. And then I was hearing how the sun and the moon, how and then I was seeing the Santa Claus old thing, the old movie, the Santa Claus movie where the guy would sing silver and gold, silver and gold. There's something very profound right now about activating both sides of the brain with
Mhm.
silver and gold. And I think it's very transformative and healing. And I haven't figured it all out yet, but I keep getting it. And usually there's a real important aspect to stuff like that when I get it in those weird little
Yeah.
conundrums like that. So silver and gold, I've been blending silver and gold in my body to perform miracles and healing. And
I'm
I
hearing
think
Tom
this would be
Petty and Stevie Nicks, you know. Oh, that's
really.
leather and lace. Excuse me, I'll move
Oh,
on
I
with
love that too, though. I
that.
love that too.
I see, is that Door Vision? How are you doing? All the way from Spain. Wow.
Ah,
Honored to have
Nice.
you here. Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. We
thank
just send you some love and we just send you some favor, you know, unwrap it whenever you want. That's the great thing about it. Um, but yeah,
Let's
it
go,
works.
Roman Doomsday and Simulation. That's a great handle.
I tell you, love the folks in the chat room,
Hello.
and thank you all. Peter says Goldfinger. That was a good movie, though. I mean, that was
Yeah,
really a good Bond movie, wasn't it? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Miss. So what was
Mhm.
her name? Miss. What was the gal?
I can't
Uh,
remember.
Pussy. What was it? It,
Pussycat?
it was something like that, you know. And
I can't remember.
anyway, moving on along, you know, love the
Scotty
old
Boy Golden
James Bond.
member.
You know, it's up, you know, I begin to think about this and have to be respectful to the ladies. You start, you know, blushing. You're going, "Well, we don't talk about that, you know."
you sound so
Oh,
nice,
Although
Eva.
I will say, you know, being the male counterpart to the triad we have here, and for all of you first coming in, and this is your
Pussy
first time,
galore.
thank you.
Pussy galore. Yep.
Pussy galore. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Bonnie.
mean, you know, that just sounds.
Pussy
I mean,
galore,
it's
right?
just one of those things. It was the classic Zsa Zsa Gabor with Johnny Carson on the old Tonight Show, and she brought on her cat, this you know beautiful cat, and she was talking, and Carson was looking over, and he said, "I'd give a month's pay to pet that pussy too."
I love it. I'll give a month's pay. Had some of
A
that.
month's pay, that's all I get. And you know, and I'm just telling you, can go back and look at some, and you know, their boobies have been talked about at length at times. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Hmm.
Why not? Just make sure you stroke in the right direction because don't go against the fur. I had to, sorry.
Uh,
That's
What
right.
Trina was saying
okay.
before about the pivot. What Trina
Pivot,
was saying.
that's a freaking curveball. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
The
Uh,
about the hemispheres, the gold and the silver.
hmm
That's
hmm
been part of the breath work I've really been incorporating this week has been to balance out those two hemispheres,
Mm-hmm.
by blocking off one nostril and then breathing out that nostril, doing it again, and then eventually breathing in one, blocking it off and breathing out the opposite. And if people do it, you can feel it. You sit down and you first do it because you feel that hit of oxygen, but you can feel the balancing actually physically taking place. So if you're doing that up here and drawing up those gold and silver snakes down here, I mean, you're welcome, because it's a really fun experience. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been taking, you know, like the Silver Surfer. I've just been surfing between both hemispheres. Going, oh yeah, baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
getting the
so ladies, the world changed yesterday.
does change it.
Interesting that, you know, whether it was 420 or 421, all these events happened as we entered into the zodiac sign of Taurus, right?
Hmm.
I am right on that. And I think S. Lee pointed that out as well. And then the sudden, unexpected resignation of Klaus Schwab. Um, yeah. And
Exit
we've got
Pope,
other things. What was that, Jenny?
the exit of the Pope.
The
And
Pope.
he's
Yeah. I mean, he went
symbolic.
through and, you know, I did some more research last night and on that there's a symbolic meaning of this comet that was called Swan, and it breaking up, and as it was a green comet, and wow,
You know what,
if
Wayne, every time you mention that and you mention Swan, I keep seeing there is a picture of Donald Trump sitting on a golden swan holding a staff. I keep
Hmm.
seeing that, and I don't know what that was. I couldn't. It was in reference to a Greek god or something.
I have
I
no
can't.
doubt of that.
But does anybody else know what that was? Because I every time you say that, I keep seeing him
Hmm.
sitting on that golden swan. I'm like, what? Okay, what does this mean? I forgot to look it up. Because poof.
Gold is heavily, it's a sign of, you know, royalty, deities. I mean, the guy has gold all around him. Just to finish the thought on the green comet breaking up. So, and you have Klaus Schwab stepping down. You have Pope Francis dying. Both of these men, by the way, are 88 years old. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
So you have this comet, and so I'm trying to find a picture of it, but it wouldn't be surprising if we saw 88 pieces of this comet breaking up. And that is a sign in the heavens and in the earth for the earth to see. It basically predicts chaos, financial collapse. It predicts well, plagues, war. So I sit here today with the brilliance of you two. Uh, what is your perceptions on this? Because we're in the midst of change. This is a period, and I contended yesterday that this is a trinity. This is a triad. Everything that we see in major events happen in threes. So, what would be your first impression of, the significance of the Pope? Um, what do you see in that side of the equation? What do you see with the World Economic Forum? And basically, it's the death of the dollar as we know it. This is going to be a new digital currency, which to me that represents power. And what do we have left? So, Trina, I'll turn it over to you first. By
You
the way, I
know,
love the necklace.
thank you.
That's really
Uh,
cool.
Dragonfly. Yeah, this is so
Dragonfly summer.
monumental, I think,
I agree.
because we just lost the Queen. Now
Hmm.
we lost the Pope,
I think we're
and
going to
now
be losing the king.
I do
Two.
too. So this is what I'm saying. It's like you're talking about, you said yesterday, we're going to have a new kingdom. Bingo. Bingo.
I did
Remember
say
I
that.
said, yeah, and I did see, remember I told you, I said, when we go into Aquarius, we will shift leadership because the
Mm.
solar logos is going to shift into Aquarius, and that will be the new solar stream of energy, the logos coming into our consciousness. So the not only this is about solar transition, lunar transition, planetary transition, leadership transition, monetary transition. I see all of these stuff, and I do see, they've always spoken about the bifurcation. There's the two paths. There will be two paths, and there will be more of the technological, and there will be more of the holding on to the more of the wonderful Greg Braden, pure human, because this is the path I'm choosing, and many won't. But there's going to be both. So I do think there's going to be there's going to be a balancing of these energies. And the leaders that have been, I do believe, are no more because the system is it's done. It's just done. And it was meant to be imploded upon itself. So they created it to be done this way. So it is operating as it should.
And I just want to inject. I saw, Colleen, your comment there on the Georgia Guidestones, and it's if you connect the dots here, and I do. So the Georgia Guidestones stood up in there in that monument for how long was that? Was it 7 years? It was a short time.
I think it was a little bit longer. It'd been there a while, but nobody even knew about it. But it's not that old, Wayne. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
recent.
Well, I
It's
lived in
very recent.
Atlanta and back in the day, back in the day, in the 90s, so it wasn't there then. But the
Mm,
fact is that when that thing, whatever
mm.
the hell blew it up, and it wasn't an explosive like, dynamite. There was something bright blue. I did a show on that. And those stones, I believe, were the warning. And no one heeded it. it was a joke in the media, it was a novelty, no one dared discuss it. And then it came down in what looked like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
Thought that was weird. And then there was no investigation. Nothing.
No, they just removed it all, cleaned it up.
Oh,
No,
yeah, yeah,
nothing. No,
yeah, yeah.
just wipe that under the rug.
So in that interim, we had the queen die, right? Which
Hmm.
she was the representative of what I would have called the warring faction of the triad. If you got Rome as the religious, you got London, the financial, and then you got Washington, D.C. as the war side. So
Military.
all this change and this upheaval, a divided House of Windsor, you have the heirs to be who have split. So that shows to the world that the world will not have unity. Two brothers that were one are now separate. That's interesting. And then we had this lull time. And in the midst of this, we had the shenanigans with Biden, the thing with Trump, and against all the odds, here is Trump now back in power. And now all of a sudden we have this dramatic shift. And then you've got Comet. The comet comes in. How convenient. I mean, so Jenny, we're talking about Charles here, and that, and I sense it in my spirit that they're not telling the full story, but it would be something if he was, in fact, to suddenly die. I think not that I'm wishing that, but yeah. So tell us, what do you see?
I don't think it's imminent, but I don't think it's long that he's going to be here in this realm. It's a complicated one with Charles. I'm not a royalist at all. I don't think they should exist at all. But he does have a complicated, from my spirit and my intuition, a complicated relationship with the family he was born into. And he does actually have a side to him that would like to be a philanthropist, a true charitable person. I think he has a genuine love for nature and a genuine reverence for nature. So he's been quite a bit of a split in the family anyway. He was never the kingly son that they tried to mold him to be. He would have been, I feel, if he'd been free of that very royal oppression, that he would have probably been a hippie protesting with a lot of the students right now, or in the past when he was a teenager, for things like climate, for nature, for
And we're speaking of Charles,
animals.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Charles. I think
Okay.
he's been so I think he's always had quite an uncomfortable relationship with the role and duty that he has. And also I feel he's more inclusive spiritually as well. Although he's tied to a religion, I don't think he was ever the anchor that they wished he would be for Christianity, because he has always aired off into more ancient texts in certain speeches that he's been told
Wow.
off for
What
in the
is, what is the
past.
royal family's
So,
official
so they are the official anointing of the Christian church, the Church of
is it
England, of
the
course.
Anglican Church of England? Is it
Church of England, yeah, yeah. So it's
the Anglican
Anglians.
Church? Okay.
So they are the official conduit, stand-in piece for God, so to speak. So it's quite over the years, quite a few times our newspapers will pull him up because he has celebrated other religious holidays. Like he's just celebrated Ramadan and he invited, I think it was 76 Imrans to come and break their fast in the royal palace. So, and
Now,
of
the Queen
course,
Mother was never a part of that, right?
no, no, she
Yeah.
wasn't. She was very much married to the church and the
Yeah.
opinions of the church, and never sort of delved into other religions. She was very much the anchor piece. He is not that.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting factor from him. I feel William, who's coming after him, is more towards the side of the globalist, to be quite frank. He sees that times are changing, and I think he'll anchor in on the Church of
Is
England
this
more than any
William
part
you're talking
would.
about?
William,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
William. Thank you,
can we
Alchemy.
digress a little bit on Charles because
Yeah,
if you look at I saw someone do his chart and I can't get over the thing with Diana.
yeah.
And that is something that there's some darkness there.
Hmm.
And it's what's your perception on it? I'd love to hear your take on it as well, Trina, because I think that was one of those major shifts. There was something either she knew, I mean, they assassinated her is what they did.
Yeah. Diana was a child when she came across Charles, when Charles came across her. She was a child. It was a very unfortunate thing of the family that she'd been born into and the expectancy they have for her and the opportunity of him seeing a very pretty young thing, of very soon to be child rearing age. But she was a child when they met. So it was an abusive form of power from the get-go. It was quite that she was chosen very much so for him. It, he wasn't in love with her at all. He never
Do
was.
you
He was
think she
never
was with
phased.
him?
I
Yes.
think so. Yes, I
Yeah.
think very much
Okay.
so. I think very much so. She was a young girl. You have to think like she was a young girl marrying into the royal family. It was a big
Mhm.
deal. And although she
Yeah.
was very posh to us, actually to the royal family, she was more common than other
A
marriages had
commoner.
previously been. So, although she was of an established family where they have land and lordships and whatnot, they're not up there at all. So it was quite an abusive relationship there. And she knew for a fact, she spoke about Jimmy Savile. She spoke about her uncomfortability that he could just walk into the palace, that he was made into their marriage counselor, Jimmy Savile. So when you think of that she knew a lot, she'd seen a lot. Um, and probably been involved in some things, I feel, because I don't feel she had a choice not to be. And
Well,
that
isn't
weighed
it
heavy.
rumored that isn't it Harry that the word is she had an affair with the
Yeah,
captain, the
yeah.
colonel?
And he looks
It
so
looks,
like he's
yeah.
the double.
I
He's the
mean,
double of
I don't
him, the
see
absolute
any
double.
William in him at all,
No, no, William looks very much like his
his father.
father,
Yeah.
very much, especially when you
So
see
can
his
I just
father.
stop here just because this is the part of me that I really get into because what we're talking about is division.
Yeah,
Everywhere of the influence of this royal family, this bloodline, has been
breaking up.
prophesying division.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. It's breaking up. And even the inclusivity that Charles is supposedly showing to other religions, all that's doing in this country is fueling quite vile hatred towards Muslim people in general, when
Mm.
most Muslim people like me don't think there should be a royal family in this country. Most people, of all
I'm not
sects,
sure what they do, but you give them a lot of money. That's what I
they
know.
just they just rake in a
Yeesh.
lot of money.
I
That's
want that
all,
business model.
but
Maybe
they're
I
not
can write to Charles
breaking.
and say, Charles, would you care to share your business model here? I mean, how do I get to be royalty,
Model.
right?
Well, his business model is even the car parks and stuff. They're charging our hospital staff. They're in millions, each one of them, charging our RAF, our hospital staff. So they're for so much for the country that yes, they don't charge them a menial amount either. It's extraordinary amounts of rent for tiny bits of land. So nurses paying for
Don't
the
tell me there's
cars.
a dark overlord ruling this thing. Come
Yeah,
on.
and he's very interested in nature, but he wants to put a lot of windmills out to sea. He supposedly owns a lot of the seabed around the UK, so that's why he wants to do that too. So we even pay him rent to put in big fans in the sea, basically. So there's an ulterior motive there always with them, but they're very divided on their mission statements. Whereas from the Queen, everybody had to get in line. Everybody had to, it was never complain, never explain. That was her
But the
motto.
Queen Mother
Uh,
dies and it all goes to hell in a handbasket.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I
there's
think
that.
it went to hell in a handbasket with Diana's death.
Yeah, I mean, it's so
Yeah,
curious on that. And I know it's ancient history, but I remember that distinctly when that happened, and it was shocking. I mean,
But you know what? Let's not forget, though. Let's not forget where I can spiritually read Charles and see the intricacies and actually where the dividers come in. That given a different upbringing and setting, he probably would have been a very progressive hippie type person fighting for other people's rights or other things' rights. But don't get me wrong in that I've spoken on my channel for over the years a lot about the Queen had warrants out for her arrest from Canada for missing children. Just nobody would come
Right,
down
oh,
on it. So
right. She
so
did.
don't get me wrong when
yeah.
I'm speaking this out because you're asking me questions. Don't ever get it twisted. Anybody that I'm sort of defending or anything, these are
No, no,
TV
no, no. I mean,
honest
I always
behind
go like,
it.
what would it be to like to sit down and smoke a joint with Charles and just talk to him and go, like a Joe Rogan interview, just kind of laid back and say, Charles, what the fuck's going on, man? I
Yeah,
mean,
because I think if you gave him that right
I think
environment
I'd
and a
like to
bit of
have that
focus,
conversation.
yeah,
I don't think he
take him
could,
up. No, no, I'd love to though. I think there's a
would it?
part of him that would love to.
I
He
think
would like
so.
to be loved. So yeah, he's
I hear he's like really into the bands of, the 60s and, the 70s. He's like really into rock.
yeah. He likes that old, so he knows the old frequencies. So he's switched on more than people like to give him credit for spiritually, but his role doesn't let him expand. But he does keep getting into trouble. Charles's life in the media over here has been marred by him going out of the boundaries of the royal family, as to what he speaks on or what he'll make a comment
He
to.
doesn't look
So
happy.
he's
I
very
mean,
much kept away from paparazzi and stuff because he will say things that the Queen would have never.
that you see now they're cutting her off, saying you can't be talking about the king in such a way. But he doesn't look happy to me. He just looks like a
I
guy that's
think his
carrying a
portrait.
burden.
I think the portrait says it all. This is the consciousness
Yeah,
that
yeah.
surrounds. And then, I always thought about it too. I was like, because there was rumors, and this is all speculation, not at all proven fact, that Diana, when she started having her meltdowns, when she realized the depth of what was going on in her reality and the truth of what was going on in her reality, she got very upset. And they said, "Settle down. You're just a broodmare." And okay, so if she was just a broodmare, then why was she chosen specifically? It was because of her light.
This has got Rosemary's Baby, written in the Omen, like all
Precisely.
intrigued in this
That's what
thing,
I'm talking
going,
about, Wayne. It's
geez.
like they needed that
Yeah.
bloodline of her for a reason, and she was just a means to get their ends. And when she decided to hook up with Dodie, there was rumors of a pregnancy, and that would have disrupted the bloodline, and that is a no-no.
Oh,
So
that's an
pretty sure
absolute no-no.
that
And
was
the
Now,
royal
Dodie's
family with
father said that he in one of the interviews I heard him say he used the word gin,
yes.
yeah.
and I went, what the freak? I
Well,
mean,
too,
yeah,
that she died in the 13th column of the tunnel, and directly beneath her was a temple that
of
nobody could
course.
see.
I
Of
mean,
course, right? See, it's
like
really
this
interesting
shit
when you
just
get
keeps
into
on
the
getting.
rumors, when you look at all the what are people saying, it's pretty interesting. It goes pretty deep.
And they
It
did need a
does.
person. They needed a healthy person in Diana. Likewise, a spiritual harness because she was a child when they chose her. So they knew there was a lot there, and they like to choose children. But the way that she was harnessed after that spoke a lot to the fact that they actually have been quite marred in disability, where they've hidden relatives. Not long ago, two of the Queen's relatives died, not long before her death. And they were born with Down syndrome, so they were
Mhm.
just hidden away in a really impoverished care home that the taxpayers paid for.
Yeah.
And they were only visited by one of the Queen's daughters, the one I keep forgetting her name, but she likes to ride the horses. She was the only one who found out about them and
Princess
actually
Anne.
Princess Anne and went to visit them
So, yeah, have
regularly.
you really followed my channel from the very beginning? go back, go back
Right.
to a decade over, about 10 years ago. So she was a pen pal of mine. She was writing me.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Y'all go back in the shows. I still got her emails in a private, encrypted area, but she would write me and was giving me guidance, pointing me in
He is
certain
so wonderful.
directions.
Wow.
So if many of you, whoever followed me from when I started this channel, yeah, and then she stopped writing.
But I barely remember you saying that, Wayne. I had to go really deep into those files for that one. It's like,
For my time.
wow.
And it actually, I can say this, she aided in my journey.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't
So
hear many bad things about Princess Anne. She's actually one of the highest working royals, so to speak, in that she
she's
doesn't take
intelligent, very intelligent.
very intelligent. She does do a lot of charitable work, but you don't see it. You would have to go deep diving for it. She doesn't do it for a
Yeah.
paparazzi picture. And she does just turn up at places without the paparazzi knowing, and she's gone before they get there, to show
Hmm.
support to certain
Do you
people.
see that? That the
Yeah,
light still has to be anchored in the darkness. You still
yeah,
will find it in there. It has to be. It has to be. It's the rules. It's
yeah.
the rules.
Otherwise, it'll just implode too soon. So I think
Because
she is
there's
a
this connection where, the royal family and the seat of England and Egypt is concerned. It goes really deep. And many people completely ignore the Roman influence on Britannia.
And the
Uh,
Ethiopian. The whole coronation is literally a copycat of a more ancient Ethiopian coronation, down to the curtains and everything. I mean, it's an absolute carbon copy of a very powerful ritual that the Ethiopians had been doing for a long time, even with all the gold, everything is the same spectre that they gave, the same dagger that they gave. It was absolutely a carbon copy down to dimensions of a ancient Ethiopian coronation. So they've anchored this in deep, which is why it's worked for so long.
as you were talking, I'm getting this voice in the back of my head saying, "Now, Steiger, think about this history here. Um, in that part of the world, your part of the world, Jenny, the occult is deep. I mean, it
Mm.
has deep roots and I always like to say Britannia because at that time it was this huge area that, influenced so many of the pagan religions. And,
Yeah.
the Romans were like, they had the Hellenistic view. Come on in, everybody's welcome. But here's those characters. But anyway, getting to the occult, I have no doubt that there's been something in those castles that I would want no part of.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. You are really for
I
sure on that.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, talk
Right.
about bringing the garlic and everything else. Like, I don't want to be
Oh,
in.
did you know that there's no garlic permitted on the premises? It's
No
literally,
way.
no, literally, it is not
I didn't know that.
permitted on the
Holy
property.
crap!
That is for real.
And I love
Yeah,
garlic. I cook with it
Garlic
every day.
kills parasites.
I do
Garlic kills
too.
parasites, and if it looks like a parasite, if it sucks like a parasite, if it acts like a parasite, if it itches like a parasite, it is a parasite.
And
So they
garlic
do.
kills a parasite on contact.
Garlic kills a parasite. Yep, yep.
If you come and
Especially
eat at my house, and everybody would be welcome because I am a good. I talk to my wife and the family. They'll tell you I love cooking, but I use lots of
me
garlic.
too.
Yeah,
Me too.
Mhm.
yeah.
People's
It's
paws when they leave.
it's
Because
just
they,
true. I mean, if that and paprika, if there are
oh,
two of the
paprika.
God's gifts, it was garlic and paprika. I mean, you got that going, and I'll tell you what, yeah.
Mhm,
Okay, I
mhm.
got us completely off subject,
Yes,
but
you have. I'm thinking of macaroni with paprika.
and it's coming into now spring, and I can't wait till eggplants come back because I have
Yeah.
this great recipe for eggplant parmesan, and it's got the paprika in there, and it's got the garlic, and oh yeah.
But
Scotty
I think
Boy says I eat raw garlic. That doesn't surprise me, Scotty. It does not.
that's
I bet
fundamental
if we took a poll,
information.
how many in this group in the chat room right now, and I can see the chat room pretty full, how many of you use garlic?
I
I
do.
would bet, what do you think, 100%?
I bet almost everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet
yeah,
they all
I
do.
think it
Yeah,
would be too.
yeah.
Lauren says, my dad taught me how to grow organic garlic. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
I need you to
it,
come on and teach me how to do that, Lauren. I would love a little lesson. Please
What's
email
that?
me.
What's that?
Learn how to grow organic garlic. That's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
things I want to start. I want to start garlic and onion. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
and
if
here it is. I'm looking at this. Yeah, everybody likes garlic.
Yep. Garlic,
yeah,
garlic, garlic. Tons of
garlic, garlic.
garlic.
Do you think that that may be why there's such a connection here? I mean, come on, that this is not just
I
a
was thinking,
coincidence. I mean, you know, so where it comes to the parasite thing, they don't dig the garlic.
no, they don't. And do
No,
the
it's
chopping stuff.
literally not allowed on the property grounds.
What is up with that?
It is not allowed on the property grounds.
I mean, your mind can start going down a rabbit trail going, well,
Well, and
okay, exactly. Like, hmm.
apparently too, Charles just he took residence in the castle. I think it's the one of the Vlad the Impaler, Dracula. That's his residence now.
This shit gets just
And
so
that's his
deep, man. You
relative. And
just like,
he's super proud
man,
of that. He's announced that a couple times. He's very proud of that heritage, that he is connected to that line. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
I
is.
think it's
oh, and
amazing. So
Barbara
yeah,
said
there's something
basil.
there.
Yeah, Barbara, you're
Basil.
right. Basil is like, you know, and for bay leaves, you can't go wrong with that.
I'm growing a
Bailey
bay tree.
face
Are
wash is
you?
I just started. Yes.
See,
Yeah.
I have them in my office because bay leaves bring, good energy. They
Did you
also
know, Wayne, did you know that that's a psychedelic?
really.
yeah,
If you
intake.
burn the bay leaves in an enclosed small area and breathe in the burnt smoke, they say that it gets you psychedelic effects. I had no idea, but I just recently found that out because I have a bay tree and I'm going to grow my bay leaf tree.
Lovely.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Mother Nature, she is a far out chick. I
Is a
mean,
Oh,
vibe.
yeah.
that chick is like
Put your bay
really.
leaves, put your bay leaves in like a little pouch, like a cotton pouch, crush them up, put the hot water over them, and use it as a face wash. You'll feel a collagen-like film all over your skin. It
Mhm.
protects your skin from UV and also transdermally absorbs all of the vitamins and compounds through the skin. Burn it, like Trina said. Write something on there. That's a very powerful ritual with bay leaves. If you write
Mhm.
something on and then allow it to burn, super powerful. But a face wash, a bay leaf face wash, I love crushing them up and using them as a
Mhm.
face
Hmm,
wash. You'll feel a collagen like, so you basically get in 100-pound cream in some crushed up bay leaves
I did
as a
not
face
know
wash.
this. I'll have to,
Mhm.
because I got my uh mortar and pedestal over there, and you know,
Wash it up, baby.
hey,
You'll feel it in the bath. It's
I
gorgeous.
do that though. I mean, I experiment with spices. It's all alchemy.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it really is. It's
Yeah.
the if there people say they want evidence, and I'd say, well, right there, nature.
One of my
Yeah.
clients, their artwork is alchemy, and they literally they they purify silvers and stuff, and then form jewelry and different things out of this 100. It's like pure silver because they alchemize it, and they have a special
Hmm,
extracting process, and they use it in art on ceramics, all kinds. It's really cool. So
that
yeah, just
sounds really
been
far
learning a
out.
little bit about alchemy.
This is what I love about this group. We're talking about a deep subject here. Hello, Nina. How you doing, girl? And yet, in the midst of this, where I see the world's freaking out. I mean, stock market. I mean, if you're owning gold, you're stepping in high cotton, and that's the other thing. So, uh, if you own gold, you're doing a happy dance, but it's also a bad omen for everybody else who doesn't. But here we're discussing things that I'd love to discuss with my best friends,
Hmm.
Yeah.
because it's crazy out there and it's going to get crazier.
And
Hmm.
watch out for Russia as far as the gold. They've been harnessing so much gold without saying a word to anybody for a long time. So they are just waiting for this market to depend on gold again.
Oh yeah,
And that's
Trump's
going
going to Fort Knox.
to profit for them.
He said over the weekend that he's actually going to go there. He says it's about time that we see what's really there. What? Maybe that would be the other shoe to drop,
No,
right? I
there is
don't
a
know.
rumor. There was a rumor going around that the gold that's in there is not the kind of gold they think is in there, because that kind of gold was used for the a different kind of purposing um, for the
Hmm.
construct. So there's a lot of interesting there, but I have a feeling I don't think there's 14 karat gold in there. I think there might be some tungsten, but I don't think there's any gold in there, but we'll see.
There's a rumor going round.
Hmm.
Someone's underground. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing is huge shifts, and what we are seeing is also new energies, but the same old scripts applied. We're seeing such synchronicities. Trina said something about the swan at the start, and that came to mind of like in World War I period in the UK. There was a lot of talk. It was the rise of the less pleasant German consciousness that was starting to really take hold here, first and foremost. And they talked about the swan dance, the last swan,
Hmm.
the ballet. So the ballet was very much tied into a lot of speeches that were made by some very radical people that we never wanted to be in power, but they did gain some foothold in our power structure and in other power structures in the West. So the swan, that's what came to mind when Trina mentioned the swan for me of before the swan dies in the swan dance, the swan famously dies. So it's an ominous
It's
figure
very
for me.
ominous. I mean, again, and I go back to this comet that it was named Swan, and and the reason why I'm so in tune to this because I remember Halley's Comet, Hale-Bopp when it came through. Hale-Bopp was a fantastic comet. It was a twin tail, and then of course, when Hale-Bopp came through, you had that group down in San Diego that did the mass suicide thing, and and I can't remember about Jim Jones, but comets have always been in my teaching, particularly in the theological aspect, and I bring that over into the occult. It perfectly matches. I mean, they tend to be very bad omens.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that one in Russia, wasn't there, in 2013 that didn't actually impact the ground, but it showed how powerful, because it didn't have enough iron in it, I don't think. So it evaporated and broke up enough before it hit ground, but it was
That was
so
like a nuclear
powerful.
bomb that went off up there.
It set out this
Mhm.
sonic wave that killed, I think, quite a lot of
A
people, in
lot of
the
people.
hundreds of thousands of people, just like this wave of energy going through the space.
The
And
History Channel did a special on that, Jenny, here in the
hey,
States. Yeah, they had because in Russia, apparently it's the law. Everyone has to have a camera in their car. Everybody.
right.
And so they had multiple pictures of this thing that went through there. Yeah, I mean it in some places it literally shattered the bones in the people's bodies.
Mm, mm. So there was that one
Hmm.
too.
Tr-
I think the golden swan is associated to the god Apollo, and we've seen a
I
lot
there
of
it
that.
makes sense. Yeah, who yeah.
We've had
Was that in the Wendy Johnson said, yeah, bad omen. That's what I've always been. And there's enough research on it. And the green is the worst one that you could be having.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going, come on now, that's why, you can't ever, people say, well, you don't believe in the Christian God. And that's true. I don't believe in that God, but that doesn't say that there isn't this
Creator.
intelligence that's above everything.
Yeah.
But you know
Prime
what?
creator. Mhm.
Yeah, I call it creator. That's it. It's the
Creator,
only thing
yeah.
I know what to
Yeah.
say. You can call
Me
it
too. I
source.
can't think of a better word for me. Source, creator. And then, but then every time I say creator, I hear, but don't forget about creation. Creator,
Yeah.
creation. 'Cause yeah, it's so crazy. But yeah, it's very hard to put into language when we talk
Yeah.
about what potentially is what people would consider God.
I
And you know,
still
a lot
swear.
of these
What's that, Jenny?
a lot of these things that are coming about, we've got like Trina says, nature, creation, we've got these astrological events that happen cyclically on different cycles, but like inner cogs working together. These people that have been in power for too long, but not as long as they say, eh, are very adept at listening to their adepts about what is coming in, what energies are coming in, what comets are coming in, and they're harnessing that and they're following a script that's paid off many times over, and they're manifesting a creation on top of creation. We're seeing that there's a very there's a strategy here. There's a clear cut strategy to piggyback on the energies that nature is naturally providing,
I
and
think
that
that
we are just swept along by.
we have such a limited perception as to what um how the reality of things are really put together because the seven principles says everything is mental.
Yes.
So that goes back to thought. Second principle, cause and effect. So creation is not a static event. It's dynamic. It never stops.
Yeah,
Once it's deployed, it can't stop.
it's
And
I think
then
responsive.
so.
what was that?
I said, I think so.
Yeah, and then the third one, because I did the whole, but and is that every paradox can be reconciled.
Yeah,
So just in those first three to four principles, the cause and effect. And I don't think a God is going to intervene. I think there's the natural law that exists in every realm. And in this realm, it's kind of like shooting a game of pool. Once the cue ball hits these impacts, there's a chain reaction.
yeah.
And I don't think God's going to stop it or any God would. Why? It would violate the first principle of the whole thing. So, anyway, that's just me.
And
Yeah.
instead of being
By the way, you
responsive
got a
to,
fabulous tan there, Trina.
yeah, you
Thank
have, you're
you.
glowing.
I
I've
had
been seeing it.
sunshine, lots of sunshine.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Retro Roman, I really appreciate you being in here. I want to read this as we get this thing down. Um, he's a painter, I believe, and I say I could be wrong, but grew up at NASA, been a painter since 2000, making art, went to New York and Vegas to paint from now I just make art and experiment with AI and train my own AI to be able to solve problems. That's cool. I like that. Love to see
Mhm.
your
Very,
artwork. You ought to show it to us sometime if you get a chance. So anyway, well, ladies, as we get wrapping this up,
no
maybe
way.
it's a fact. I mean, it just looked like that. Um, but I'm curious. So, what do y'all sense? What does your inner radar kind of tell you of what to maybe look for in this next week? I mean, it seems like it happens almost weekly now, not every day.
I wonder
Expect,
if this comet this isn't projected to get close at all to us, right?
No, apparently, yeah, it wasn't
Okay.
expected to even break up, but it
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And
I
as I
see, I
said
see
yesterday,
the world is on fire. I see earthquakes. I see the summer is going to be, I think, like anything we've ever seen before when it comes to temperatures. I think, remember that rare phenomena that I saw in Mesa years ago where the trash cans and everything were melting? I keep seeing that that might be a potential again where, I mean, things are going to get weird. I mean, the backs of your cars will literally melt off the car. I
that
mean, it's
totally
crazy.
sucks.
It's insane what we saw here. And I have a feeling we're going to look at that. I keep sensing earthquake in California. I have a feeling we might see something monumental this summer with that. I keep seeing July, August,
Hmm.
big movement there. I think we're going to see some real serious upheaval with our financial systems very soon. I think it's going to be across the board. I'm seeing a strategic elimination of resources and food. So this is going to be another situation. We're seeing lots of reports that crops are failing. They're saying that Florida might be shutting down all their citrus now because their crops aren't producing and growing, and we've got the bees losses. We're going to see some massive shifting happening very soon, and it's going to be evident that there's some stuff going on with nature, big stuff.
Not feeling the love, Trina, but anyway. So,
But I do, Wayne, I
no,
do. I see the
yeah, I mean, it's,
destruction. I
yeah,
see it in a lot of places, but I see a lot of places that aren't going to be touched at all. And it's going to be the consciousness and the way they live and the choices they make. It's really not going to be the same for a lot of people as it will be for the people it's directly affecting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Gaia said, get to know your local farmer and become a farmer.
Yes.
It's
My
true.
goodness, yes.
Yeah. Where I live,
Hmm.
you can have all the chickens you want. You can have the roosters too, but your neighbors may not like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Jenny, what do you see? Draw a card for us as we exit
So
out of here. And
there's
we've got to go back and visit the forest. We'll do
yeah,
that
you
next
have
week.
to do those the rest of the readings as well, and it must do that too.
Yeah,
'Cause if
yep, yep. We'll have to do that next week. I got Mike and Cindy coming on Thursday, but we'll do it that I still
no
got the
problem.
list.
Good.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the same as Trina. I see Rome really in a lot of disarray. They're going to really struggle to choose the successor of this pope. There's because of that, there's going to be a huge amount of unrest for people that are still tagged in the game. They're looking for um, they're looking for ways to attack and project outside, and there's us on the periphery that are going to be witnessing this. And I would say don't get tagged into it. There's very little to be done on that side of things, but a lot of things are going to be exposed. So for the collective, we've got the Six of Coins, which is Earth. You can see here the coins around these people, and there's somebody standing up, sharing out the Earth, the nourishment, the physical things that sustain life. There's a set of scales in the other hand to balance out that reciprocity, to see where you want to put your physical energy, where you want to put your physical presence is coming up hugely for the next week too. Be very careful where you go. There are no rules anymore. We're in a period of a old God replacing the new God, and the new God coming in alongside the old God, um, on the back of these energies that are coming in. So be very careful and very precise where you put your physical presence, whose company you keep. Stay in positive energies with people who want to lift you up, like in this card, and build you up and balance you out rather than deplete you. That's a
Hmm.
really important thing. So on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Five of Wands. So the five and the six. So you can see the difference between those two cards. The Five of Wands, everybody's just whacking their wands indiscriminately at one another. There's no winning. There's just perpetual argumentative energies. But going into the six is there. You see a gifting, a gratitude, a reciprocity. You can't find that right now in these energies that do not resonate with you right now. You going into this saloon with your Six of Coins would actually be seen as an aggressive move by these people who are stuck in the game right now. And stuck in the various fights and distractions that are going on right now. So be careful where you put your energy. Have wisdom with where you receive energy from as well. Not all that glitters is gold, so to speak. Be very wise about where you put your physical presence, your physical profits, your physical gains. Uh, think financially as well. Where are you going to balance out as well? Is there anything that you can move around this week? That could be a powerful shift for a lot of people um, to disperse that physical abundance.
There's a lot of division in the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even the cards are
Yeah.
saying it. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two sides, two
But
sides.
you
yeah,
got to, you know what though? They keep showing me the remedy for this division is to blend it. And that's when you merge the both sides of the brain with silver and gold. They were showing me braid this energy together. You don't fight it. You don't you integrate it. And this is why we do our shadow work, because when you embrace your darkness, you become more light. And it's because you're balancing it all out and you're not fighting against it. What resists persist. So when you integrate these instead of trying to fight them or stop the transitions, no, this change is going to happen and it's going to happen in a
yeah,
big
you
way. And we are here to see it. This is why we came. So
embrace
it
it.
isn't, yeah, it's going to be challenging. But if you can embrace the energies and integrate the energies, you will become a new frequency and you will be one of favor and hope and prosperity rather than despair and destruction because you can flow with the changes. So flow with these changes because they're coming and big.
Don't put yourself into waves that you unnecessarily need to be capsized in either. Just, ride your own waves. I think Trina's completely right in that, really concentrate.
Authenticity, Jenny, that's another thing they keep telling me. It's so important. We've lost ourselves. And when we find our authentic core nature, we become a brighter being. And you're right. That's such a huge key. Authenticity, be yourself. No one's like you. So be you.
Yeah, yeah, and be
And
received
when
back.
you're saying that, I'm hearing Cat Stevens. If you want to be me, be me. And if you want to be you, be you. There's a
Yeah.
thousand things you can be, and you know it's true. Anyway, so there you go. We'll end it on a very positive note, folks. It's
Yeah,
listen,
Mhm.
in the midst of a thunderstorm, it can have all the effects of the wind, the lightning, and the hail, but in the meantime, the earth is up soaking in all that wetness, which
yes.
will
What
later,
those cards are doing,
when the
it's
clouds
totally.
come, what's that?
Mhm.
What's that, hun?
What you're describing is completely what those cards are doing. In on one side, there's this sort of manufactured argument that nobody knows who starts it, who's going to benefit from it, and then on the other side, literally shoulder to shoulder, is this reciprocity, love, and gratitude. There's a stream of energy
Favor.
of choosing of where you put your favor. It
Bingo.
completely.
Yeah.
Love you too. Love you,
Excellent.
audience out
Yeah.
there. We love you a lot. Thank
Love
you. We'll see us
you.
next week, and we'll definitely got to visit the forest. I was actually in there recently, and it's a very
That's where I got the silver and gold. I was visiting the forest right before we got, and I was like, that's when they showed me. They handed me a braided rope of silver and gold, and then I heard the song "Silver and Gold." I was like, what is going on here? Oh, silver and gold. Okay, I know. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, that's how I got that, Wayne. Funny.
it's just a cool place. What can you say? All
Mhm.
right, everybody. Smile. Hug the
Mhm.
person next to you. And in fact, learn to hug yourself. Once in a while, it's good to do that. Just wrap your arms. That's why you got two of them. Just give yourself, if there's no one there to give you a hug. So that's the thing. And thank you, ladies. I do
Thank
adore
you.
you both. And we'll see everyone. I won't be here tomorrow because I have an acre and a half to mow. But uh,
Okay.
yeah, gotta do it. And actually, I freaking love it. I mean,
Mhm.
this zero radius mower I have, it's far fucking out. I mean, I just want to tell you what, you just put the headphones in and watch out Speed Racer. That's all I got to do.
Right on. I
All right,
love it.
everybody. Love you. See you on Thursday here with both Mike and Cindy from Evolutionary Healing Arts, and we're going to have fun. Uh, Love their perspective on current events. They're,
Where will
We're
that
in
be?
for it.
what's that
Where,
say? Huh?
where will that be? Where will that show be
On
on? Is
Thursday at the normal time.
And
Yeah,
on their
here.
channel or
No,
here?
on
Oh,
this channel. On this channel.
okay, yeah,
They're
okay,
coming
good.
over as guests, you know. I got
Yeah.
the spare room and but don't think I will need it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be awesome.
I think it's gonna be fun. All right, ladies. Much love, everyone. As Mary Wins always say,
Love
love
you.
one.
happy
There we
Love
go.
you, Mary.
Mary, we love you, darling. All right.